Hey guys, it's Mrs. Hoy coming back online. It's Monday. I told you I would be here again on Monday. Um, I forgot to tell you the answer to video number one before I gave my shout out. Most of you guys figured out it was Carrie Underwood, and so good job to those kids who were able to guess that. So my second mystery artist was, drum roll, Johnny Cash. And the first person who got back to me on that answer was Caitlin, Jeremy, and Levi B. Congratulations, guys. You got the shout out today. Woo! Good job. So I want you guys to go and listen to Johnny Cash's song, John Henry. I hope you guys had a chance to do that. If you did, you will notice that there was a story told through the music. The reason why I want you guys to listen to that song was because I have a book that I'm going to read to you today called John Henry. And this kind of touches base a little bit about what I was going to talk to you today about folk music. So what is folk music? I'm going to give you a little definition of what folk music is. It is traditional music that's passed down from generation to generation. For example, the story of John Henry may have been passed down through the African American spirituals. It could have possibly been sung while the slaves at the time worked in cotton fields or doing the other jobs that they had to do throughout the day. So some of the main instruments that's used for folk music are guitar, the double bass, banjo, a dulcimer. If you don't know what a dulcimer is, I'm going to encourage you to go and look that up and listen to it. It's kind of a fun little instrument for you, so that's a little bit of something that you could do today, looking up what a dulcimer is and what it sounds like. A harp, a fiddle, and all of these instruments come from a certain string family. I was going to word it like, it's 1:23. Let's see, who do I have music? Oh, I'd be having Mr. Schluck's class right now, so yay for Mr. Schluck's class. Okay, back to what I was going to say. I was going to ask you guys what instrument family do these instruments belong to, but I already answered it for you. It's the string family. A lot of these instruments, like a guitar or a fiddle, are instruments that could be carried with a person from place to place. Obviously, a harp you wouldn't carry with you everywhere you went, because let's be honest, it'd be pretty big. But guitar and fiddle, those were instruments that could be carried around. They would probably use them at night for entertainment and sing songs. So Johnny Cash in his song, obviously we heard there were drums, there was a guitar, and the guitar is from the string family. Those were added once they were invented and whatnot. So Johnny Cash was using a story in his song to tell. So today what we're going to do is we are going to read the story of John Henry. I want you to listen to the story, and if you get a chance, go back and listen to the song and see if you can find any similarities or differences with the stories. Do they work together or don't they work together? Are they pretty much the same? What did you notice was different? So if you wanted to let me know through either my Seesaw app or Remind, you can do that, and I'll reply back to you. Or if you just like to look those things up, you don't feel like replying to me, that's okay too. I love getting the messages from you guys. It's fun to hear your parents work with you guys too. I've had a couple of parents say, I know what the answer is, but my kids don't. And so you guys had to really figure it out. So that's awesome. I love hearing all those responses and touching base with you guys that way. So let's go ahead. We'll start this story, and then I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen afterwards. All right. So here it is, John Henry. It says, It's an American legend. Here we go. And this story and pictures are by Ezra Jack Keats. Here's the first picture. Sorry, everything's backwards for me, so I have to make sure I can figure that out. So it says, a hush settled over the hills. The sky swirled soundlessly round the moon. The river stopped murmuring. The wind stopped whispering, and the frogs and the owls and the crickets fell silent, all watching and waiting and listening. Then the river roared. The wind whispered and whistled and sang. The frogs croaked, the owls hooted, and all the crickets chirped. Welcome, welcome, echoed through the hills. There he is. Sorry, still trying to get used to it. There's John Henry as a baby. He was born, you see that? He's got the hammer in his hand. I'm going to move a little bit. There we go. Okay. And John Henry was born with a hammer in his hand. Bang, 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 rang little John Henry's hammer through the cabin as he crawled about. What's that rascal up to now? His mother chuckled. And before she knew it, he was big enough to help her around the house. As he grew up, he did a man's work with his father. If you're not in class, you're tardy, 5th grade. One day, John Henry thought, I'm taller and stronger than anyone around. It's time I went out to the world. He said goodbye to his mother and father, and off he went. He worked on farms and in cotton fields, but all that was too tame. So he got himself a job on a riverboat. Here's the riverboat. One stormy night, the ship plowed through the darkness. Suddenly, a big steel rod that turned the paddle wheel broke. The wheel stopped turning. Smash went the rod through the bottom of the ship. Pump water, shouted the captain. Get to port before we sink. John Henry leaped to the paddle wheel. Crank! He seized it, pushed, grunted, and pulled. Slowly the giant wheel turned. With all his strength, he kept it turning. Lord Almighty help us, someone whispered in that long, dark night. Day broke. They sighted shore and pulled into port. A thunderous cheer went up for John Henry. See where he's at now? See the train? John Henry felt a new excitement in the air. Men were talking of railroads being built from the Atlantic to the Pacific. They're going to lay those tracks over rivers, across prairies and deserts, and right through mountains, and through Indian lands and stampeding buffalo herds, and badlands. Goodbye, boys, cried John Henry. I'm going to swing me a hammer on them beautiful new tracks. My hands are just itching to hold a hammer again, John Henry said. He tried one for size and laughed. It sure does feel fine. How he drove those spikes, singing to the clanging of his hammer. The men joined in, their voices singing, hammers ringing. John Henry's gang was in the lead. Day after day, the tracks moved steadily westward. Rising across their path was a sparkling mountain range. Its snow-capped peaks reached high into the clouds. We'll have to tunnel through, said his friend, Little Bill. It'll be awful dangerous. Could be cave-ins, someone pointed out. That suits me fine, said John Henry. Me too, added Little Bill. Here's how we'll do it, boys, the foreman called out. A couple of men drive a hole into the rock. Then the powder men will put dynamite into the hole and explode it. The others will cart the loose rock away. We'll do this again and again until we have a tunnel right through this mountain. And it's going to be a real big tunnel, boys. big enough for a giant locomotive pulling one of them long strings of trains. All right, boys, blast away. There they're working in the cave. Deep in the mountain they worked. John Henry's singing echoed through the tunnel. The powder men got ready to blast more rock. They filled a hole with dynamite, put in a long fuse, and lit it. "Run, men!" cried the foreman. They all scrambled back, ready to dash clear the blast. At that instant came a great cracking and rumbling, and the entire tunnel tumbled around them. "It's a cave-in! We're trapped!" There was no place to turn. The fuse burned closer to the dynamite. John Henry was nearest the fuse. He ran to put it out, but tripped and fell. "Oh, I'm hurt bad," he groaned. "I can't get up." The fuse burned further out of reach. Others rushed towards it, but they were too far away. Suddenly, John Henry remembered he still had his hammer in his hand. Down came the hammer, smack, on the burning tip. The fuse was out. Danger past. Sighs of relief filled the smoky tunnel. "Whew! Help me up, boys," mumbled John Henry. Clearing their way through the cave-in, the men carried him out to safety. Some days later, they heard an unfamiliar clatter. Down the tunnel came a group of men with a strange machine. "This is a steam drill. It can drill more holes faster than any 6 men combined." A new man bragged. "Who can beat that?" John Henry stepped forward. "Try me." He and Lil Bill took their workplaces. John Henry gripped his hammer. Lil Bill clutched his steel drill. "Check the machine," came an order. A nervous hand fell on the switch. In the dark, both sides waited for the signal to start. A hoarse voice continued. 1, 2, 3. The machine shrieked as it started. John Henry swung his hammer. The crash of steel on steel split the air. Clang, bang, clang. The drill got red hot in Lil Bill's hands. He quickly dropped it and picked up another. Hiss, whistle, rattle. Men frantically heaved coal into the hungry, roaring engine and poured water into the steaming boiler. Whoop, clang, whoop, bang. John Henry's hammer whistled as he swung it. Chug, chug, clatter, rattled the machine. Hour after hour raced by. The machine was ahead. "Hand me that 20-pound hammer, Lil Bill." Harder and faster crashed the hammer. Great chunks of rock fell as John Henry ripped hole after hole into the tunnel wall. The machine rattled and whistled and drilled even faster. Friends doused John Henry and Lil Bill with cold water to keep them going. John Henry took a deep breath. He picked up 2 sledgehammers and sang, "Ain't no hammer striking such fire. Strike like lightning, Lord, and I won't tire. Hammers like this, Lord, there's never been. I'll keep swinging 'em, Lord, until we win." John Henry swung both mighty hammers faster and faster. He moved so fast the men could see only a blur and sparks from his striking hammers. His strokes rang out like great heartbeats. At the other side of the tunnel, the machine shrieked, groaned, and rattled and drilled. Then all at once it shook and shrugged and wheezed and stopped. Frantically, men worked to get it going again, but they couldn't. It had collapsed. John Henry's hammering still rang and echoed through the tunnel with a strong and steady beat. There he is. Suddenly, there was a great crash. Light streamed into the dark tunnel. John Henry had broken through. Wild cries of joy burst from the men, still holding one of his hammers. John Henry stepped out into the glowing light of a dying day. It was the last step he ever took. Even the great heart of John Henry could not bear the strain of his last task. John Henry died with his hammer in his hand. If you listen to the locomotives roaring through the tunnels and acres across the land, you'll hear them singing of that great steel-driving man, John Henry. So there's the story of John Henry. I want you guys to think about it. Was Johnny Cash's song, was that the same as the story of this John Henry? If so, what were the similarities? If not, what were the differences? Think about it. And like I said, you can go ahead, you can message me your answers. Seesaw has a camera where you could send them to me. And so go ahead and think about those and reply. I'd love to hear your guys' responses. So that's just a little bit about folk music and stories told through music. All right, so with that being said, I want to tell you guys what I'm planning on doing tomorrow. So for one thing, if I seem like I'm flustered a lot through these videos, it's because it's really weird watching myself talk to myself, even though I know you guys are out there listening. So if I forget something, go ahead and mention it and say, Mrs. Hoy, you forgot to mention, and I'll let you know next time I post a video. Okay, anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So tomorrow I'm going to attempt to make my own instrument. I know on some of the things I sent out to some of the kiddos for their music was to find things around the house to make an instrument. I have an idea of what I want to do, and I'm going to post my instrument tomorrow. I'm hoping that it works. It might take me some prep time to get it figured out, but I think it'll be a fun treat for you guys to see what my instrument is. If you've already done the instrument challenge, I want you guys to send me pictures. I've already had 2 kiddos who sent me some videos. I suppose I could give them the shout out since they've done this part. Dexter W. and Brady E. Those 2 guys have made an instrument, and they sent me pictures and video of them playing it. So good job, guys. Once you make your instrument, I want you to tell me what instrument family you think it might belong to. That could be tricky. All right, so I'm going to do that. Now, I want to tell you guys I lost it here. Here's a trivia question. This is the question that you guys will have to answer to get your shout out for tomorrow. So here it is. What is the right angle to approach a difficult problem? So if you can figure that trivia question out, I want you guys to send me your answers, and I'll let whoever sends it to me first with the correct answer, I will let you know. And then be sure to watch for your names on the next video. Okay, so tomorrow you'll get to see my instrument. Hopefully I get somebody who has come up with the correct answer to my trivia question, and I'll repeat it one more time. Here it is. What is the right angle to approach a difficult problem? If you can try to figure out without using Google, use some of your critical thinking skills and see if you can get it figured out, okay? All right, so that's all I have planned for today. I'd like you guys to, if you have questions, just let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys, even if it's just a little something. I want to know how your guys' day is going, what you liked about making an instrument, what you didn't like. If you have something you'd like to do with Mrs. Hoy, send me an idea. I can try to do the best I can. I do have some of our friends, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. You guys know about some of my music friends like Freddie and Eli. They are at my house protecting and quarantining themselves from the virus. And so I might pull Freddie and Eli out and we might go through a couple of our stories with Freddie and Eli just to kind of brush up on Treble Clef Island and maybe the Bass Clef Monster. And there's a new book I haven't read to you guys yet that we might do as well. So that's what we have for today. I look forward to hearing your guys' responses and getting messages from you. They really brighten my day, and I hope you guys enjoy my videos as well. And before I go, I saw on Facebook today that there is somebody's birthday, and I brought all of my music home, and you can tell I'm in the music room right now. So I don't have my piano music here to do happy birthday, but I'm going to sing it to Ethan. Today is Ethan C's birthday, so I'm going to sing him a happy birthday. So here you go, Ethan, this one's for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ethan. Happy birthday to you. And I'm sure he's probably changing about 4 shades of red right now. I'd love to see that picture, Ethan. So happy birthday. I hope you guys are having lots of fun, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.